ودي سلامي يا رايح للحرم، وادعي لي وسلم لي على هادي الأمم. ودي سلامي يا رايح للحرم، وادعي لي وسلم لي على
يا طيبة يا طيبة يا دوا العيانة، اشتقنا لك والهوى نادانا، والهوى نادانا. يا طيبة يا طيبة يا دوا العيانة، اشتقنا لك والهوى نادانا، والهوى نادانا. لما سار المركب ناساني، ساروا الدمع ما جفاني، أخذوا قلبي مع جناني. يا طيبة يتيم الولهانا، يتيم الولهانا. يا طيبة يا طيبة يا دوا العيانة، اشتقنا لك والهوى نادانا، والهوى نادانا.
SubhanAllah, we just arrived at Masjid Quba, and the reason why we come here is that the Prophet ﷺ said that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, "Man tatahhara fi baytihi," whoever performs wudu, purifies himself in his home, thumma ata, and then he comes Masjid Quba, to this masjid, Masjid Quba, fasalla fihi, and then prays in it salatan, a prayer, so even 2 rak'ah nafil, kana lahu ka ajri umrah. Allahu Akbar, he will have the reward of performing an umrah. At the time when the Prophet ﷺ said this, the Muslims within Madinah Munawwarah were barred from going on umrah. After the Prophet ﷺ migrated to Madinah Munawwarah, it won't be for another 7 years before the Muslims of Madinah Munawwarah could perform the umrah. So for them to hear this, what a blessing. In the same way, the Prophet ﷺ saying that if you can't go to Masjid Al-Aqsa, gift oil for its lamps, and it'll be like you prayed in Masjid Al-Aqsa. Like the Prophet ﷺ saying, when people perform Umrah in Ramadan, it's like performing Hajj with the Prophet ﷺ. These are the mercies of Allah and His Messenger ﷺ to each and every one of us. And inshallah, we're going to go inside and inshallah earn the reward of an Umrah, subhanallah.
يا طيبة يا دوا العيانة، اشتقنا لك والهوى.
MashaAllah, we've just entered into Masjid Quba, and you can see how absolutely stunning and beautiful it is. Allahu Akbar. And this is the place that was established by the blessed hand of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. We've already just prayed our Dhuhr prayer here, mashallah. Because of the heat of the sun at the moment, they've covered the insides, mashallah. Again, wonderful to have the air conditioners in here, mashallah. And beautiful chandeliers. Beautiful calligraphy, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. And at the front of the masjid, right at the top there, you can see the ayah from Surah At-Tawbah, which speaks about this masjid. That this is a masjid that from the very first day was built on taqwa, on the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in it are people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves because they love to purify themselves. And in the tafsir of this, what was so special about the way that they purified themselves, that they would go out of their way to make sure when they went to the bathroom, that they would be clean with water and other materials. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loved them for that, for going that extra mile to be pure and clean. What an incredible space that we are in. And of course, we want to now pray 2 nafil here and inshallah earn the reward of an umrah.
قبلتي بيت الله صابر علاني يوما لك زائر يا ترى هل تراني ناظر للكعبة وتغمرني بأمانة تغمرني بأمانة.
There's a hidden gem just on, this is the wall towards the Qibla. There's a hidden gem just on this side here, on the southwestern side of Masjid Al Quba. There's a location of a well that is placed here. And this is the well, subhanAllah, that in the time of Uthman radiallahu anhu, the signet ring of the Prophet alayhi salatu, we said Muhammad Rasulullah was lost forever in this exact location. And definitely you want to come and look for this hidden gem here. And directly in front of me going in that direction is Masjid al-Nabawi. You have the Darb al-Sunnah, the Sunnah path, which a half an hour walk away, you can actually walk to Masjid al-Nabawi. So when you're in Madinah Munawwara, make sure to visit Masjid Quba. And this is the place that the Prophet ﷺ, he placed his own blessed hands to build the foundations of this masjid. And Allah spoke about that and spoke about this is the place where there's a masjid which was established from the very first day on the fear of Allah, subhanallah.
Well, yes sir, we're just in Masjid Quba, and what did we just see? I didn't realize that this was here.
Yeah, no, we were here last year. Masjid Quba is directly in front of us. This is the blessed masjid that the Prophet ﷺ put his blessed hands on to build the foundation of this masjid. And you've got I remember that from last year. Do you remember that? Darb al-Sunnah.
That's
a pathway. Yeah, you can walk literally from Masjid Quba
to Medina.
the Masjid al-Nabawi.
How long is that walk like?
It's about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but they advise to do it after Fajr when it's cooler.
Yeah, it's too hot right now.
Like it's quite warm now, it's close to the Dhuhr time. And then we've come across a new gem actually on the location. There's a Asira, the journey to Quba. And we'll have a look at this. I love this map, by the way, I'm not gonna lie. This is a great map.
Well,
you know why? Because we came from Makkah, right? So this is like, we just arrived in Medina late last night. So this is really good, really good. So you got Makkah al-Mukarramah here, yeah. We were in Mina, look. The Hajj, of course, we were there in Mina. It was east. Obviously, the map's being oriented as that's
we were
north.
in Mount Thor.
Yeah, so that if you imagine that is the north, okay, it's being put on its side. So east of Makkah is Mina. That's where we were. The reason why they're showing Mina, because this is where the Ansar of Madinah Munawwara, which is over here, way over here, they gave a pledge of allegiance to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, Bay'at al-Aqaba, quite close to the Jamrat al-Aqaba, right? Yeah. That location where we did the stoning. And do you remember we were there? Jabal Thawr?
Yes.
What's surprising about Jabal Thawr, now you can see it on the map, is it in the direction of Medina or the opposite? Look.
It's not opposite.
Yeah, and that's why it confused everybody. Because where Makkah is,
oh,
they were
yes,
expecting,
when the
do you get it? Yeah, exactly.
When the trackers went, they
they're
thought
expecting,
he was going to go this way.
is it. So they're expecting the Prophet ﷺ to go north, which is predictably north.
Yeah, Medina.
And the opposite has happened. The Prophet ﷺ went south and stayed in Jabal Thawr with Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu for 3 nights and 3 days. And then if you see, it's beautiful, like then they trace it off, then went towards the sea coast, right, the Red Sea, and then started to make his way, alayhi salatu wasalam, towards Madinah Munawwara. It took about 2 weeks. And here, we're gonna record something very special for you here. I'm not gonna rush this one. I'm gonna read the hadith. This is the most incredible description of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, which was given by Ma'bad radiallahu anha al-Khuza'iyya. She was an illiterate Bedouin woman, but the words she used to describe, I'm kind of just, I'll hold my emotion back, but the words she used to describe the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam is off the scale. unbelievable. And then the Prophet ﷺ carried on going. We're gonna talk about this separately, yeah. So I'm gonna rush this bit. And this is the meeting between Suraka ibn Malik and the Prophet ﷺ. He was the main bounty hunter that came after the Prophet ﷺ. He actually
in Mount Thor.
Yeah, you know his name comes up again later. The devil, Shaitan, shapeshifts into Suraka ibn Malik at the Battle of Badr.
Yes.
Like his name comes again and again. He's the one who also is promised that he'll get to wear the bracelets of Kisra. And at the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, he gets to wear them. And he said, oh, the Prophet ﷺ promised me I could wear them. And then Umar radiallahu anhu said to him, what did he say? He said, you could wear them, you can't keep them, take them off. And so he wore them proudly. Look, this is prophecy. I'm wearing the bracelets that the Prophet ﷺ promised me, because this is that point where he's the bounty hunter, he's chasing the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ makes dua against him, and his camel starts to sink into the sand, right? And he said, no, help me. And then he comes back again, and then he says, no, I'll leave you alone. And then he sank back into the sand again. Yeah, this is Suraka. He later, alhamdulillah, embraces Islam. And then, you know, they carry on journeying here, and here we are. Masjid Quba, the location of Masjid Quba. This is where the Prophet ﷺ stayed here
This
for a
is
few
where
days.
they were waiting for him.
That's right, the Ansar of Madinah were waiting for him, and the masjid behind you is the exact site of where we are. And then, of course, the Prophet ﷺ made his way beautifully into Al-Madinah Al-Manawwara. This is just fantastic. And what we wanted to say is this, what did you think of the...
I enjoyed it, because
well, they said it's an immersive experience.
Yeah. And it was
so I didn't know what that meant.
Immersive means
no, I mean like in the sense,
okay.
what would that be? I know what it meant, but what would it be for this?
It was like lights and effects. It had 3D kind of contouring. You had strobe lighting.
What about the rocks? You missed the rocks.
The rocks.
No. I mean, like as we walked in,
yeah.
Alhamdulillah, they showed us like deep
a model
history.
City.
Yeah, they showed us deep history of Madinah Munawwara, Yathrib. It's an ancient city which was inhabited by people thousands and thousands of years ago, and we had a really beautiful conversation with them as well about the origins of why the Jews arrived into Yathrib, the origin of the Aus and the Khazraj. So the Jews arrived into Yathrib with the Yemeni king Tub'a, and because in the Torah it was mentioned by prophecy that the final messenger of God ﷺ would migrate to Yathrib, to Madinah al-Munawwara. So there it's between two lava plains. In a place of date palms, so it was a desert oasis, so that's how they could tell. And then of course the tribes of Al-Aus and Al-Khazraj, which literally means the wolves, they're from the Al-Az tribe, the Yemeni tribe that came from Yemen, from the city of Ma'rib. Allah mentions it in the Quran that the dam burst, Sayl al-Arim burst, where the Queen of Sheba used to live, alayhi salam, and the tribes scattered. The Aus and the Khazraj came to Madinah Munawwara, and we know them today as Al-Ansar. And you know, one really things beautiful I've heard from our teachers is that the Ansar were asked, why are you called the Ansar? Like, why are you called the helpers? One of them, Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu, who served the Prophet ﷺ for 10 years in Madinah Munawwara, he said, Allah gave us that name. Like, we didn't choose that name.
Yeah.
Allah chose that name for us. And it's just, this place is steeped in history. Yeah. Would you encourage people to come here?
I would definitely encourage it, because you got the actual Masjid Al Quba there. You got this immersive experience here. You got the pathway that goes to Medina, which takes 25 minutes.
وأجمل منك لم ترى قط عين وأطيب منك لم تلد النساء.
When the Prophet ﷺ undertook his hijrah from Makkah al-Mukarramah to Madinah al-Munawwara, this is shown on this beautiful map here, and we said we'll come back here and reflect on this. It's interesting, on the hijrah map, they showed a location, the khayma of Ma'bad, the tent of Ma'bad, which of course opens a question, who is Ma'bad? Ma'bad radiallahu anha, her full name is Ma'bad Atiqa bint Khalid al-Khuza'iyya radiallahu anha. And an incredible incident took place here, where the Prophet ﷺ came here with Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and their guide, and they asked for some milk, and she said, my husband has actually gone out with our livestock, and we don't have, it's a very difficult time at the moment, we're going through a famine, and we're really struggling, we don't have any milk unfortunately to sell to you. And then the Prophet ﷺ noticed a young goat, and he asked permission from Ma'bad radiallahu anha, can I milk this goat? And she said, look, the goat is so weak, and that's why it didn't even go with the other animals, but you're welcome to. And then the Prophet ﷺ placed his blessed hands on the udder of that animal, and it gushed forth with milk. And he gave the milk ﷺ to Ma'bad radiallahu anha first, and then to the others, and then drank from it last. And then as a sign of his incredible generosity, the Prophet ﷺ milked the goat again and left enough milk for the rest of the household. Then they continued on their hijrah to Madinah Munawwara. Abu Ma'bad radiallahu anhu then returns and says, he says, where did all this milk come from? And then Ma'bad radiallahu anhu, she says, a Rajul Mubarak, a blessed man visited us. And then this illiterate desert Bedouin woman is asked by her husband, Sifi li, describe him to me. And she then describes the Prophet ﷺ in some of the most incredible words, which is our honor now to mention those words. We have them preserved in our Islamic history and in hadith literature. The Prophet ﷺ, she says about him, she says, Ra'aytu rajulan zahir al-wada'a, I saw a man, meaning the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, visible radiance and purity. Husnul khuluq malih al-wajh, beautiful appearance, bright face. Lam ta'ibhu thajila wala taziri bi sa'ala qasimun wasim, with neither protruding ribs nor a small head, handsome and fair. Fi aynayhi da'aj wa fi ashfarihi wataf, in his eyes were deep black and large, and his eyelashes were lush. Wa fi sawtihi sahal, his voice was mellow and soft. Ahwar akhal, the whiteness of his eyes were bright and his pupils were black. Azajju aqran, his eyebrows were beautifully arched and connected. Fi unuqihi sata'un wa fi lihyatihi kathatha, his neck was long, his beard densely full. Idha samata fa'alayhi al-waqar, when the Prophet ﷺ was silent, he appeared dignified. Wa idha takallama sama wa alahu al-baha, but when he spoke, his eminence and crowned, he was eminent and crowned with magnificence. Hulwal mantiqi, and as she mentions here that his speech was sweet. Faslun la nazrun wala hadar, his words was precise, neither too little nor too much. And she says something extraordinary here. She says, كأن منطقه خرزات نظم يتحدرنا, like a string of pearls flowing down gently. And look at how she then goes on to say, he was the most striking and beautiful of people when seen from afar, and the fairest of them when seen close. He was of medium height, neither unagreeably tall nor scornfully short, a branch between two branches. Among the three, meaning Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and Prophet ﷺ and the guide, he was the most radiant and handsome in appearance, and he was surrounded by his companions. When he spoke, they listened attentively. When he gave orders, they hastened to fulfill them. Honored, served, and surrounded by followers, he neither frowned nor criticized. What a beautiful description of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
وجميل
ودي لي سلامي يا رايح للحرم، وادعي لي وسلم لي على هادي الأمم. ودي لي سلامي يا رايح للحرم، وادعي لي وسلم لي على هادي